For more than a decade, the Brown family stood as a symbol of unity under one roof, bound by shared values and a vision of togetherness. But as time passed, fractures spread beneath the surface, cracks hidden behind rehearsed smiles and the illusion of harmony. Now that illusion has crumbled, giving way to legal battles, truth-telling, and a reckoning no one could have predicted. It began with silence. The once lively Flagstaff mansion, where Robyn and Kody had carved out a life of comfort, now echoed with unease. Laughter had become a memory. Kody, once brimming with purpose, now looked weary, his energy drained, his gaze distant. Robyn, once the favored wife with a new home and decisive influence, could feel the shift. Her attempts to preserve what remained, lavish furnishings, family photos, small gestures, only highlighted how much had changed. Then came the moment. Kody's words, cold and unwavering, pierced through the stillness one night. "You're already halfway gone, Robyn." He didn't raise his voice. He didn't explain. It wasn't a threat. It was a conclusion. And it left Robyn stunned. She had always believed she was irreplaceable, but Kody's disconnect was complete. His disillusionment with their shared life had become undeniable. Elsewhere in Flagstaff, Meri and Janelle were connecting the dots. For years, they had accepted their modest lifestyles, while Kody and Robyn lived in comfort. But questions were mounting. Quietly, they reviewed financial documents from the past 3 years, and what they found rocked them. Over $300,000 had been withdrawn from the shared family fund under various household labels, yet the majority of it supported Robyn's expenses, mortgages, tuition, even frequent online orders. Meanwhile, Meri struggled to maintain her business, and Janelle fought to keep her utilities running. But the betrayal ran deeper than numbers. Meri and Janelle, once hopeful for reconciliation with Kody, now stood resolute. At the upcoming tell-all special, they decided to speak out, not just for themselves, but for the integrity of the entire family story. As the cameras rolled and Tamron Hall welcomed them with her usual warmth, the atmosphere was electric with anticipation. The audience expected drama, but not this kind of revelation. Janelle pulled out a stack of documentation, financial transfers, text messages, and payment histories. The most shocking detail: Robyn had been secretly supporting a coordinated social media campaign through Christine's daughter. Mykelti paid posts and emotional messaging had subtly painted Christine as ungrateful or distant, damaging her image while boosting Robyn's. It was a strategic move that, for months, manipulated public opinion. Mykel, seated in the audience, broke down in tears. She confessed on air. Robyn had offered her emotional validation and financial support, saying she was the only one who still believed in the family. Wanting to feel important, Mykel had agreed to help, never anticipating the fallout. Christine, watching from her home in Utah, sat silently with her daughter Truly. The betrayal cut deep, not just because of the manipulation, but because it came from within her own blood. Her eyes didn't tear up. They dimmed. Her only word was a whisper. Why? Back in Flagstaff, Kody sat alone in a sparsely furnished apartment. The family photographs on the walls now felt like museum relics. The fallout had been swift. After a heated argument, Robyn left to stay with her sister. Calls to his children went unanswered. Formal legal requests from Meri and Janelle for a full audit of the family's financial history sat unopened on the table. As snow began to fall outside, quietly erasing footprints on the porch, so too did the legacy of the Brown family begin to disappear. But the story didn't end there. The Coyote Pass property, once a symbol of the family's shared dream, had become a battleground. Purchased for over $800,000, the land had been meant for 4 homes, one for each wife. But now, with Christine long gone and Meri heading to Utah, those dreams had disintegrated. Ownership was tangled, and as financial strain increased, the Browns faced a deadline. Pay off the remaining debt in 75 days or risk losing everything. To make matters worse, revelations surfaced that Christine had signed away her portion of the land to Kody for only $10, a gesture meant to sever ties and start over in Utah. Now Janelle and Meri feared that if the land was sold, they'd be left with nothing. In response, Janelle hired legal counsel to ensure her stake was protected. Reports also revealed that Kody had been restructuring ownership so that he and Robyn held the majority, a move that further alienated the others. As the fallout continued, Robyn did something no one expected. She filed a legal claim against Kody. Though not seeking criminal charges, Robyn's suit focused on breach of financial agreements and emotional distress related to how shared funds were distributed and how her children had been used to further the family's narrative for TV profits. She alleged that Kody continued to make decisions about her children's appearances and privacy, even when she no longer consented. Meri, in a surprise live interview following the legal news, didn't hold back. It wasn't just about money. It was about trust. About how much we gave up believing we were building something real. She described how she had remained hopeful for far too long, waiting for Kody to value her again. But that hope was misplaced. Now she was rebuilding on her own terms. Her bed and breakfast in Utah was thriving, and her emotional transformation was evident. Her best friend, Zona the dog, became a symbol of her new chapter. And her glowing appearance at the Global Beauty Awards was just another sign that Meri was moving on, not just from Kody, but from the pain he brought into her life. Janelle, meanwhile, embraced a different kind of healing. She had moved to North Carolina, investing in a flower farm and focusing on her health, spirituality, and emotional recovery after the loss of her son Garrison. At a recent fundraiser, she appeared radiant, another woman reclaiming her identity after decades of sacrifice. Back in Flagstaff, Kody faced the aftermath of decisions that cost him nearly everything. Once a patriarch who believed in shared purpose, he now sat alone, his legacy scattered across media reports, court filings, and unresolved relationships. It was supposed to be another reunion special, a chance to clear the air, tie up loose ends, and maybe even offer a shred of closure. But for the Brown family, closure had become a fantasy. The studio lights buzzed hot overhead, and the production crew adjusted their cameras with quiet urgency. Everyone could sense it. Tonight was going to be different. Janelle and Meri sat side by side, unshakable. They wore matching shades of deep emerald green, a quiet show of unity, and their eyes were sharp with determination. Gone were the days of waiting to be chosen. Gone were the moments of silencing themselves for the sake of peace. Across the set, Robyn fidgeted, dabbing at her under-eye concealer. Kody paced, jaw clenched, his signature curls tamed, but his energy frenetic. And backstage, Mykelti, Christine's daughter, sat in a foldable makeup chair, scrolling nervously through her phone. She was the only one unaware that tonight's spotlight would soon burn hotter than she ever imagined. Tamron Hall entered the stage with her usual grace, greeting the crowd and the family members. But the pleasantries barely lasted 5 minutes before Janelle leaned forward, her voice low but commanding. "We need to talk about what happened with the money," she said, locking eyes with the camera. "All of it." The audience fell silent. Tamron's brows lifted. "You're referring to the family fund." Meri nodded, pulling out a folder marked receipts. "For years, we thought Robyn and Kody were simply mismanaging funds. But there was more to it. Mykelti was involved." Guests rippled across the studio. Robyn's head whipped toward Kody. Mykelti's phone slipped from her hand backstage. Janelle continued, her voice unwavering. We discovered a digital trail, transfers, Venmo transactions, and emails. Over $80,000 of our shared family earnings were funneled into a side business registered under Mykelti's name. The catch, she wasn't the one running it. Robyn was. Tamron leaned forward, stunned. Are you saying Robyn used Mykelti's name to move family money? Yes, Meri said, voice cold, and Kody knew. Kody exploded. You don't know what you're talking about. But the cameras caught Robyn shrieking beside him, her hands trembling. Meri didn't flinch. Don't you dare raise your voice, Kody. We waited too long to speak. We have emails from Robyn's personal account, instructing Mykelti on how to structure payments and withdraw cash under the radar. It started small, 10 here, 20 there. But it grew. Tamron turned to Robyn. Is this true? Robyn hesitated, her lips parting in a desperate search for an excuse. I was trying to help Mykelti launch her business. It was supposed to be a family investment. She was barely 21. Janelle snapped. And you used her name to hide money. From us. Backstage, Mykelti stepped forward onto the stage, hands trembling. I didn't know it would become this. Mom. She looked directly into the camera, her voice cracking. I thought I was helping Aunt Robyn. Meri turned to her with surprising calm. Sweetheart, we're not angry because you were manipulated. We're angry because we trusted Robyn and Kody with everything, and they chose control over honesty. You got caught in the middle. Kody's voice turned venomous. Oh, come on. You're all just bitter. You never wanted to build anything real with Robyn and me. You want real? Janelle stood. Let's talk about the money you tried to hide in Arizona real estate. We traced it. You funneled earnings from the show and the family fund into 2 properties, one in Robyn's name, one in yours. That wasn't your money alone, Kody. That was ours. Robyn buried her face in her hands, while Kody's temper erupted. If you're so righteous, take it all. I'm done. I've carried this family, and this is how you repay me. With that, he turned to Robyn, his last defender, the one wife who stood by him when the others left. And he broke. You wanted it all, didn't you? He hissed. The money, the house, the perfect image. You orchestrated this, not me. You pulled Mykelti in, you pushed Christine out. This mess, it's yours. Robyn stared, stunned silent. I gave you of everything, she whispered. Kody shook his head and stormed off stage. But before he disappeared through the curtain, he turned back, rage burning behind his eyes. You wanted me to choose you. He growled. Then fine, but don't expect me to stay. The sound of a slamming door echoed through the studio. Robyn sat frozen, a single tear trailing down her cheek. Mykelti quietly returned backstage, shell-shocked. Tamron slowly turned back to Meri and Janelle. What now? Meri leaned into the mic. Now, we fix what's broken. And so began the final act of their shared history. With Christine watching from Utah, a smile playing on her lips, the OG3, Christine, Meri, and Janelle, made a quiet pact. They joined forces, not for a marriage, but for justice. Together, they filed a formal civil suit demanding full repayment of misallocated funds. The network, fearing backlash, paused Kody and Robyn's residuals until the financial investigation was complete. In the following months, the OG3 did more than survive. They thrived. Janelle used her recovered funds to open New Roots, a holistic wellness retreat in North Carolina. Her flower farm became a sanctuary where women gathered to reset, recharge, and reclaim their lives. Meri expanded her Utah and offering writing retreats and spiritual weekends. Zona the Dove even had her own Instagram account. Her personal glow-up landed her on the cover of Women's Empowerment Monthly, and she was offered a book deal titled Chosen, Leaving the Shadows of Plural Marriage. Christine, still quietly powerful, co-launched a family podcast with her daughters called Truth Untold. It quickly soared to the top of the charts, its raw honesty about healing and identity inspiring women across the country. And Mykelti. After a brief break from social media and a long sit-down with her mother, she stepped back into the public eye, not as a pawn, but as a woman finding her voice. She launched a foundation supporting financial literacy for young women, naming it Start Clean. Meanwhile, Robyn and Kody retreated into silence. Their once comfortable home went on the market. Their names slowly slipped from headlines. Kody was spotted in Nevada months later, reportedly living in a rental with no signs of family nearby. The world watched, not with pity, but with understanding. The story of the Browns had always been complicated, tangled with love, tradition, control, and the messy business of faith and family. But in the end, the women who were once expected to stay quiet became the architects of their own redemption. And when the network called, asking if the OG3 would return for a new docuseries, this time under their own terms, Janelle smiled.